this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
This Sunday, iHeartRadio brings you live to Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara for the Super Bowl 60 tailgate concert, presented by NetApp. It's the ultimate pregame party, featuring an exclusive performance from Teddy Swims. Your front row experience will be on iHeartRadio stations across the country and the free iHeartRadio app this Sunday at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Then, after the concert, tune in to the Super Bowl 60 pregame show on NBC.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Do you know Pure Talk's favorite holiday? President's Day, because they believe wireless service should only cost you a couple of presidents, a Jackson and a Lincoln to be exact. For just $25 a month, Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data, so enjoy superior 5G coverage without the inflated price.
Just go to puretalk.com/buck and save 50% off your first month. That's puretalk.com/buck to switch to Pure Talk.
Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR. Fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Welcome back into Clay and Buck. So Clay and I decided to switch this up, and I was going to tell you about some of what I saw yesterday from a couple of different angles. First of all, I'll start from the defense and national security side. And I think there's particular interest in this stuff, especially after Trump talked about the discombobulator, I think he called it, which was used in Venezuela. My guess is that that's not the technical term for it. But Trump mentioned something about this publicly, which is unusual for a weapon system that people are not familiar with. But now the Venezuelans are familiar with it. So guess what? People are going to figure this out. But the truth is the wars of the future and just the national security needs of the United States going into the future are going to be increasingly reliant upon two things that intersect very powerfully, or really two things that are complementary: technology and manufacturing. And you have to be able to make the most advanced stuff, but you're going to have to be able to make it at scale and quickly, because when you're talking about drones and AI and hypersonics, and just go through the list of all these things that are either in use and iterating, coming up with new versions of right now, or just over the horizon and going to become much more a part of what we see in the national security sphere, you have to be nimble, you have to be fast. And this is what, Clay, the speech yesterday that Secretary of War Hegg said, it was great to see him. We got to catch up a little bit. I mean, he was busy with like the second richest man in the world and taking around a bunch of very senior military folks, but we talked a little bit. And I was glad to sort of meet his staff and see how they're doing this Arsenal of Freedom tour, which is what it was, the Arsenal of Freedom. And they're going around to a lot of the biggest, not just, there's the defense primes, Boeing, Lockheed. I mean, these are the companies that you think of when you think of the military industrial complex. They've consolidated, and this has happened really, again, I'm not an expert on all this, but the last 40 years or so, there's been a huge consolidation of this stuff. And now there's these companies, there's these upstarts, these startups, I guess maybe both upstarts and startups, like Anduril, based out of California, Palmer Luckey's outfit, and others that are making really incredible defense tech. And Clay, before I get into the space side, I was going to just say, this is one of the incredible things that Trump and the whole MAGA movement has accomplished that I think people don't have enough appreciation of. A decade or so ago, Google and its employees, and from the top down, refused to do anything that could even have military use or, any military projects whatsoever with the Pentagon. And that was considered just, okay, it's a private company. They can do what they want. It's like when they said build our own internet, do it our way. Clay, that is a massive, first of all, it's borderline, in my opinion, borderline traitorous. And that was the culture though in Silicon Valley. Our tech leading edge was unwilling to work to defend America against the threats of China and Russia and global terrorism and all these other things. And they were fine with that. That's changed now. And I think it's one of the biggest wins that the Trump administration has racked up on the national security side. And Secretary Hegseth is working to change the procurement timeline because it's become a joke. They're saying, yeah, we're going to build something 15 years out and it's going to cost 10 times as much as we say it is when all's said and done. And by the time we get it, you're not even going to need it because there's going to be some other technology that you can't have this. In a world of drone swarms and hypersonics and increasingly low Earth orbit activity that deals with a whole range of military threats, there's so much going on, Clay. And we can get into the space piece too, but this is a transformation of the way that the United States top companies now work with in areas, not saying they work with them on everything, but there's crossover and they're willing to work with our defense contractors. I mean, in my opinion, no American should be willing to buy or do business with an American company that will not help the United States military with technology, will not help the United States military defend us. Because Google, without the U.S. military providing it, they'd all be speaking Chinese, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, Google only exists because the United States provides this marketplace, yes, but this aegis of protection. And you're going to turn your nose up at working with these companies. But remember, Pentagon's paying for this stuff. The Pentagon, it's not that they have to do whatever the Pentagon says. It's just the Pentagon will say, hey, we want to buy this from you. No, we don't want to work with you on that. Hey, we want to co-develop this with you. No, and this was Google and all these top companies out of Silicon. Google is the main one, but all these top companies out of Silicon Valley. I mean, it's shameful what they got away with. Palmer Luckey of Anduril has spoken about this consistently, and it's amazing because he comes out of that community. There's a guy who founded Oculus. Now he's the founder of Anduril. He's a self-made multi-billionaire. He's founded really 2 unicorn companies, he's like a double unicorn. It's pretty amazing. Clay, the whole paradigm has changed now where, and it's important because if China has better AI, better tech, better drones and manufacturing capacity for them as well, if they can make 100 UAVs of the absolute top range that can be used in offensive warfare for every 10 that we can make, we can't beat them. That's what people have to understand. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we have the best soldiers in the world. Well, if they can just out-manufacture us, the bravery of our soldiers is not going to be enough in a fight that's increasingly tech-based.
History teaches us that war is often one of the great evolutions of technology. And you go back in time, Civil War, for instance, railroads changed the way that the war was fought under the concept of celerity, but troops being able to hop on a railroad line and be able to get to a different area much faster. I was reading actually this morning as I was getting ready for our show, Buck, we just rolled off what many people believe will be the last tank. And if you think about the history of warfare, certainly World War II, to a large extent, it was airfare, right? Air combat, air superiority, and then tanks and their ability to run roughshod over trench warfare and change the dynamic there. The Ukraine-Russia war has basically turned into a drone battle. And the question is, who can build the most drones and advance drone technology the fastest is dictating success on the battlefield. And they say basically even attacks, by and large, with soldiers are becoming virtually impossible because drones are so skilled and adept at being able to kill people as soon as they leave protective areas. And so we are, I think, evolving in the same way that AI is iterating at a speed that, frankly, we've never seen before in the history of humanity. We are right now in a technological inflection point where the manufacture of drones would likely dictate who would win World War III. And who knows what comes next, Buck? It may be robot warfare, right? I mean, when you look at Elon building all these Optimus robots, it may be the case that the next war we fight is basically humans sitting around with joysticks trying to align robot battlefields and drones and everything else. The technology is just evolving so rapidly, and the manufacturing capacity is so key. It's one reason why we're exploding is the wrong word, expanding our overall budget for the military, because this is expensive and we need the wheels and power of private industry to be able to win the future battles of combat.
The other part of this that was really interesting. So there's that defense and manufacturing piece, and that's why the Arsenal of Freedom tour that Secretary of War is going on is really showing everybody that, you know, this is now, America is now a place where, just like in World War II, and they really even borrow, I mean, I have some photos of this, they borrow from some of the imagery from posters of World War II for this current Arsenal of Freedom tour, because, if you were an automobile manufacturer in World War II and you had to start making plane parts or tanks or whatever, there was just no question. That's what's going to happen, right? This is the reality of the world they were living in, and that needs to be the reality today. But for high tech companies in particular, and tech that can be manufactured at scale, which means quickly, efficiently, at a reasonable price, it's changing the whole military industrial complex situation right now. That whole apparatus is in the process of being shifted. Now, it's huge. It's unwieldy. A lot of people, I think, who've worked in the Pentagon or listening to us are going to say, yeah, right, good luck with that. Well, that's the mission, and they're on that mission, and we'll see how they do. They were telling us a few years ago nobody could ever secure the border, and now that's an afterthought. Of course you can secure the border. We can't make stuff faster. The America we live in, where I can sit here and have basically whatever I want delivered to me with the push of a button in my home, maybe within a few hours, certainly within 24 hours. We can't make drones faster or better than we currently are with the big defense primes. No way. There's no way that that's reality. Okay. And then on the space side of this, Clay, and I know some people are really into space overall. We are absolutely in a rebirth and a renaissance of space exploration. And it's real. And here's why. It's commercialized now. And Elon deserves tremendous credit for this. There are two companies that are driving this whole thing, and it's SpaceX and Blue Origin. And what they are doing, I mean, Elon speaks about this in a way that I think is particularly visionary. Blue Origin, and I was there yesterday, I heard Bezos speak about this. Blue Origin knows that it has to go a lot faster, knows that it has to get a lot more launches going. You know, they've been a little slow, and it's kind of like it feels a little bit more like private sector NASA to me. You know, SpaceX is a whole other thing. Blue Origin is like, we're going to build rockets so we don't have to buy them from Russia. Hey, that's great. And Jeff Bezos is one of the most incredible entrepreneurs and, company minds, or company managers in history. Elon is like, we're going to build Death Stars and go to Mars. Like, it's a whole other category. And now you're talking about the possibility of low Earth orbit data centers. And this is particularly useful for AI, but we might start having, instead of building these massive data centers that have to require all this cooling, you don't need a lot of cooling in space, have all this stuff. We might be able to start building them in low Earth orbit. The infrastructure for space and space exploration and utilization and getting us to other planets and everything, is actually being built right now. It is real. It is happening. And it's a pretty amazing moment in the history of our species. I will say, Clay, it's the real deal. When you start looking at the progression here, how fast they're going, how many more rockets they're going to be able to make, how much better the rockets are, the increase in the, just even the kind of carbon fiber that can be used in these things today. With the, in the Apollo missions back in the day, they couldn't have imagined. Some of the rocketry stuff has just been repurposed and it's the same. A lot of the principles are the same, but some of the technological advances make stuff so much more feasible now. So I was nerding out with it yesterday. It was really interesting. And it's real. And there's a whole lot of stuff going on. I met the NASA administrator. Great guy, by the way. We might be having him on the show soon, Clay. We're getting people back on the moon, but we're doing a whole lot more than that too.
What I would also add to all that, and it sounds like an awesome way to spend the day, yesterday news officially came out that SpaceX, XAI, and Twitter/X are all now one company. So it's not only that things are evolving rapidly, it's that AI is creating a world where satellites, social media, the evolution and rapidity of AI, and all of these things are being coalesced together. So I think, to me, there's a little bit of an analogy where we do this radio show. And when Rush did this radio show in the 1980s and the 1990s, there was only one way for you basically to get this show. You had to be listening live on a radio channel. Maybe you could bring out the old cassette tape for those of you who remember doing mixtapes back in the day. On Monday, this show will go on satellite radio. We just had our best month of growth we've ever had on YouTube for this show. And we're on every social media platform. But I think increasingly media is just becoming one thing. There's no difference between the television and YouTube and everything else. Media is just one colossus. I think a lot of these businesses, when you look at SpaceX, when you look at the ability to provide internet from space, when you look at XAI, when you look at Twitter, when you look at all these companies, SpaceX, they're all one thing. And I think we're rapidly evolving towards everything synthesizing together. And that might sound complicated, but I think it's occurring at a rapid speed, the likes of which we've never seen before. So buckle up, because we're accelerating at a level that I'm not sure technology has ever occurred. And there are both exciting things about that and terrifying things, frankly, about that as well. Look, Prize Picks, all 50 states, including the state that I am in right now, California, the state that Buck is in right now, Florida, Georgia, Texas, all 50 states, you get $50 when you play $5. And I've got my Super Bowl pick for you all. This pays out at nearly 4-1 if I am correct. And it starts with basically a free square. Drake May to have more than 1/2 passing yards. Prize Picks is giving you one free. You cannot lose. Drake May is going to have more than 1/2 passing yard. That's a free square. Then I believe Drake May is going to have more than 1/2 passing touchdown. I think Sam Darnold is going to have more than 1/2 passing touchdown. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, best receiver for the Seahawks, I think is going to have more than 93.5 receiving yards. If I am correct in this, it pays out at nearly 4-1. $5 becomes $20. If you're going to be watching the Super Bowl and you want to have some fun, you can play along with this pick. Buck's going to play. I'm going to play. All of us are going to play. PrizePicks.com, code CLAY. You get $50 deposited in your account in all 50 states when you play. That's PrizePicks.com, code CLAY. PrizePicks.com, code CLAY.
Patriots, radio hosts, a couple of regular guys. Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. Find them on the free iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcast. This Sunday, iHeartRadio brings you live to Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara for the Super Bowl 60 tailgate concert presented by NetApp. It's the ultimate pregame party featuring an exclusive performance from Teddy Swims. Your front row experience will be on iHeartRadio stations across the country and the free iHeartRadio app this Sunday at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Then, after the concert, tune in to the Super Bowl 60 pregame show on NBC.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Running a business is hard enough, so why make it harder with a dozen different apps that don't talk to each other? One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. Before you know it, you are drowning in software instead of growing your business. This is where Odoo comes in. Odoo is the only business software you'll ever need. It's an all-in-one, fully integrated platform that handles everything: CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, and more. No more app overload. No more juggling logins. Just one seamless system that makes work easier. And the best part, Odoo replaces multiple expensive platforms for a fraction of the cost. It's built to grow with your business, whether you are just starting out or already scaling up. Plus, it's easy to use, customizable, and designed to streamline every process, so you can focus on what really matters: running your business. Thousands of businesses have made the switch, so why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Hi, I'm Cindy Crawford, and I'm the founder of Meaningful Beauty. When Dr. Sabah and I decided to do a skincare line together, he said to me, "We are going to give women meaningful beauty." And I said, "That's exactly right. We want to give women meaningful beauty," which means each and every product is meaningful. It has a reason to exist. It's efficacious. You're going to get results. And then you just go out and live your life.
Meaningful Beauty. Confidence is beautiful. Learn more at meaningfulbeauty.com.
Welcome back in, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton show. Buck walked back into a hornet's nest here. I'm going to dive into a topic here in addition to the fun of Billie Eilish being on stolen land and the seriousness of the $2 million verdict by a New York jury for a young minor who got gender transition surgery. That's in quotation marks because it's not real. But we will discuss that. Buck, I did want to put a bow on this. And by the way, 800-282-2882. In the wake of the 3 million plus pages of Epstein revelations, it feels to me like the Epstein story is basically over. And even for the 5 or 10% of the audience out there that is the most focused on this Epstein story, and I think the Trump administration, as we have said many times, did not handle this well in the first year. But there is a bit of breaking news out there. Bill and Hillary Clinton are going to testify in front of Congress to avoid potential charges for defying a congressional subpoena on 2 different days at the end of February. I jotted down the 26th and the 27th. It might have been the 27th and the 28th, but 2 days at the end of February. And I'm curious if you co-sign on to this, and certainly you guys can react. As I did a ton of reading yesterday to make sure that I basically had read everything under the sun about the Epstein revelations and make sure that I wasn't missing anything. Effectively, it appears to me, based on all of these emails, that Jeffrey Epstein had access, because of the work that he did with Ghislaine Maxwell, to lots of young, attractive women, and lots of old, rich guys were interested in meeting young, attractive women, and Epstein used that as the lever to get access to all of these older, rich men who otherwise didn't have access to young, attractive women. And that was the way in which he ingratiated himself into all of these circles. I did think it was interesting. I'm out in L.A. There's almost, Buck, no one who is famous, right? No musician, no actor, no famous people that were interacting with Jeffrey Epstein. My bet on that is because famous people have easy access to attractive women. And really, the game plan of Jeffrey Epstein was, I'm going to use all these young, attractive women to get access to primarily these old, rich guys. And that was the name of the game, and he leveraged that to be able to make lots of money. Now, whether there were intelligence agencies in any way involved, blackmail, the New York Times actually had a great write-up of how Jeffrey Epstein made a lot of his money. Much of it comes through Lex Wexner, who was the founder of Victoria's Secret. But I actually think this story is becoming less and less complicated the more emails come out. This was a guy who was a pervert and had access to lots of young women, and there were a lot of men in powerful positions who were very wealthy that wanted access to those young women, and Jeffrey Epstein exploited that for those purposes. Do you co-sign to most of that? Is there anything else that has leapt out to you from these 3 million documents that have been revealed?
It's a tough week for Peter Attia.
Yeah.
That definitely. I did not, and I will tell you this, I don't think his name had ever come up in any of the stuff before at all. So he was one of these people who all of a sudden would go, oh, buddies with, again, no allegation of criminal wrongdoing in any of this stuff. And that's obviously why they're, and he has been very, Dr. Attia has been very vociferous in that he knew nothing about Epstein trafficking underage girls and that he, had no, I mean, of course, this is what he's saying. This is what you would expect him to say. And I will just say, though, the brand damage that some people are suffering as a result of this is really, we say brand reputational damage that people are suffering from this is substantial. There were a lot of people who minimized their contact with Epstein. And now because really non-criminal email activity coming out has shown. And so this made, you're starting to wonder, why was there the hesitation to release a lot of this stuff? Well, the FBI in the course of an investigation will get a lot of information. And if it has nothing to do with criminality, it generally does not just release everything that they find, right? And that's, I think, overall a good thing. There's clear reason for this. You shouldn't be, if you're writing things that would just be kind of, again, non-criminal but if you're writing things that are embarrassing, that have nothing to do with a criminal enterprise, why should that all be made public under normal circumstances? In this case, the public demanded, and for very good reason, a much broader transparency than you would get in a standard FBI investigation because of the reasons that we could spend hours and hours talking about when it comes to Epstein. So, I think that there are people that are more damaged by reputationally than I anticipated, meaning new names. It's one thing if somebody's already in there. The reality here, I think, is there will be people that never believe that there's been enough transparency, or rather that we've gotten the real answers. And I can understand that. I can understand that mindset. And I think that what now at this point, the FBI or the DOJ are going to say, we've released what we have. That's it. So I don't know what else you or I could do in terms of advocating for more transparency or anything else. And I will say, this wasn't smoking gun. What we said all along is true. There's nothing in these emails that on a standalone basis you could bring beyond a reasonable doubt criminal charges against anybody involved in. If there were, they probably would have brought those charges, right? This is why it was somewhat established, I think, in advance that there might be people that look scummy, but looking scummy is not a crime, or else we'd have to throw most of Congress in prison. And that's where we are. So I think, Clay, maybe this brings a new phase, at least, into the discussion. People will analyze this. They'll believe that there are a lot of connections that have been covered up. And I don't disagree with that. But I just don't know what else we can find that would shed the light on it that people want at this point. Does that make sense?
No,
I don't know what else there is.
I think it's over. And look, I'm open. You guys can give us talkbacks. You can call in. Like, I did what I consider to be a pretty deep dive yesterday to make sure that I had looked at every different angle. And I think, again, this story to me, based on all these emails coming out, is the story of a guy who got rich by having access to a lot of young, attractive girls. And there were a lot of old, rich guys that did not have access to young, attractive girls that were willing to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein because he would, you'd go to a dinner and there were a bunch of pretty girls there. That's what a lot of these emails show.
Well, when you're saying, this is where I do think we have to be clear when you're saying access to young girls, which because that's girls, you're really talking about, I think, a lot of these individuals who are not charged with, and there's no allegation out there by any of the women against, numerous
some of these guys,
individuals, which I think is really, it'd be one thing if we had some of the women who were abused, who were underage, saying this guy did this or that guy, that, and then can we prove it? It's another thing to say there's no, because you have to be fair to people here. Epstein did, and this is a position that Epstein did interact with human beings who did nothing wrong and knew nothing about it. And, that is a reality too.
When I'm saying older of age girls, right? I'm talking about people 18 and over.
There are a lot of guys. This is the key differential. Sorry, I diverted there, but yes, you're saying what I wanted to say, which is that it's one thing for a guy, who is a powerful, rich guy to say, Epstein, he's got the Rolodex with all the over 18 Victoria's Secret models that I want.
I want to meet that 24-year-old smoke,
right.
And I'm 60 years old, and otherwise there's no way that I'm going to meet him. I'm saying that's what a lot of these emails look like to me.
Yes. That's now you can say, age gap and whatever. That is 100%, if a 24-year-old Victoria's Secret model, a lot of guys in their 50s and 60s, if they had a chance, again, there's
you can judge that as much as you can, but
judge that as you want. There's nothing even vaguely criminal about that. It's 100% legal and always will be and always should be, I might add. There's nothing criminal about that. These are people who are adults. They are of age of consent. Everything is fine. So you can say it's like, you can say it's unseemly, but being rude to the maid is unseemly. We don't lock people up for that, right?
Well,
so
that's why to me, when I saw these emails, it's interesting. Epstein didn't really have celebrity friends, right? And I'm talking about there weren't a lot of Hollywood people. There weren't a lot of musicians. They weren't actors and actresses that he was involved with. They were super rich guys, tended to be older. And again, to me, it feels like he would have a party and you would go to it and there were 8 gorgeous models there and 5 old dudes. And he took advantage of being able to provide those kind of environments. That's what all of it read like to me.
Well, let's unpack that for a second. Celebrities don't, if you're a top Hollywood actor, you don't need Epstein to introduce
you meet plenty of pretty girls.
An of-age Victoria's Secret model or whatever, Again, we're being very clear. We're talking about women in their 20s. Let's just make it that clear. Women in their 20s. Epstein had access to women in their 20s. Les Wexner, the Victoria's Secret brand, and others. But normal, guys who are 30s, 40s, even into their 50s, who are successful and famous in any capacity, they don't need,
Johnny Depp doesn't need Jeffrey Epstein to meet girls, right?
But if you're 60, if you're a 60-year-old kind of, if you're like a Reid Hoffman looking guy, he's in the files a lot. Reid Hoffman, and I'm just saying, this guy probably needed, I don't know. He's not a guy that you would think would have an easy time with the ladies, is all I'm saying.
Who is in the emails was super rich guys that are probably socially awkward, that are having trouble meeting women of age, and they used Epstein, and Epstein used them in order to meet attractive women. That's what stood out to me. Again, you guys out there, if I'm missing something, if Buck is missing something, then let us know. But it feels to me, by and large, like this story it's Bill Gates, right? It's Bill Gates who needs help meeting chicks. It's Reid Hoffman. And by the way, a lot of these people, very rich Democrat donors. A lot of these rich, supposedly super, they have amazing media. Oh, what a hero all these guys are. Oh, they're so great. You're like, they actually seem pretty scummy in the emails with Epstein. But again, to your point, if being scummy were a crime, most of Congress would be in prison. And so to me, it kind of stood out. That's what jumped out at me. I'm glad the emails are out now. It doesn't feel to me like there's anything else really.
The cleanup that happened of really damaging information and or any of the tapes, the surveillance, if there was a blackmail operation operating here, which I still believe was at least a part of this, that's been gone for a long time, which we've said here. I mean, that's my assessment, is that stuff got wiped a long time ago. And so now you have what you have. I'm not saying it answers all the questions. I'm not saying it shows you everything that should be shown. I'm just saying I don't see where the next phase of demand for transparency is going to go at this stage. I mean, if there was something else that I thought we have to release, what else is going to be released now? I think we're where we are on this one. So, but I'm sure some of you would disagree. And you will let us know that, because you are not shy about talking about when you disagree with us. And if I can just pivot for something far less serious for a moment here, Clay, before I actually get into a serious read, but far less serious, we have to have a fulsome discussion about this mustache.
I can tell when you're looking at me on video. Even I sometimes am looking.
I feel like a kid who doesn't recognize his dad right now. We gotta have a whole conversation about this. I'm just like, wait, what? But might not go where, it might go in some interesting directions. We'll get to that. All right. Our sponsor here, Tunnel to Towers Foundation. They're incredible, and I support them every month. I hope you'll do the same. They honor America's heroes like U.S. Army officer Stuart Waymont. Valuing liberty, freedom, and service, Stuart joined the Army. He graduated from Army Aviation School and received many honors and awards during his distinguished career. Was a mid-air collision during a training exercise that took Stuart's life. He leaves behind his wife, Kiara, and 3 sons. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on Stuart's family home. The kindness of people across the country alleviated Kiara's financial burden and brought support for her children's future needs. She is grateful that her children can grow up in a safe place, supported by family members who keep Stuart's memory alive. You can help more families like Stuart's. Join us in donating $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Want to be in the know when you're on the go? The Team 47 Podcast. Drop highlights from the week, Sundays at noon Eastern in the Clay and Buck Podcast feed. Find it on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back in, Clay, Travis, Buck Sexton Show. One story that we have not covered very much that is at the top of most of the newscast right now, and I want to give you this update. The mother of Savannah Guthrie, her name is Nancy Guthrie. She is 84 years old in Arizona. We have a big audience listening to us in Arizona. The sheriff is going to give an update on this story. Savannah Guthrie is a host on the Today Show. I'm sure many of you are familiar with her. Buck, I have read a decent amount about this. It's a very strange story. My take, and I don't know if you would sign off on this as well, is that Savannah Guthrie is not so famous that I would think most people would know who Savannah Guthrie's mom is. And so, as there are reports of blood and abductions here, I don't know if this is just she's a victim and it has nothing to do at all with Savannah Guthrie. I think the reason it has caught a lot of attention is because there is a connection to Savannah Guthrie. But again, I could be wrong here. I just don't think Savannah Guthrie is so famous that everybody would know. If you told me J.D. Vance's mom was abducted, I would say, okay. If you told me that there are certain people that I would say, well, there's no way that's coincidental. I'm just not sure that this is in any way actually connected to Savannah Guthrie. Does that make sense? I mean, my reading here. I hope that they find Savannah Guthrie's mother unharmed and that the perpetrators are punished to the fullest extent of the law. The first thing that my brain went to, though, when I read this is, remember the
just heartbreaking story of Michael Jordan's dad.
Yes, I thought the same thing.
Just, yeah, someone who's, Savannah Guthrie's not quite as known globally as Michael Jordan was. Michael Jordan was, I think pre-Trump, Michael Jordan might have become the most famous person on the planet for a period of time. I think he probably was the most recognizable, most famous, sports icon, but really cultural icon. His dad was, if memory serves, napping in his car, like taking a basically a snooze, and people woke him up to carjack him and shot him in the chest.
Killed him.
A totally just horrific random act of violence. I think both those guys got life in prison, the two that did the carjacking. But, terrible things can happen to the family members of famous people, too. And this is, when you're talking about a woman with dementia, 83, you said, Clay? Is that right?
I think 84. 84? I think they're putting the details up about her right now. 5'5", 150 pounds, they say. Last seen on January 31st. Again, in Arizona, and they're about to have a press conference. Sorry to cut you off, but the photos are everywhere, and certainly a lot of you are listening in the Arizona area, and keep your eyes open. Obviously, we want something not negative to come out associated with this story. But, yes, to your point, Jordan's dad was murdered, and it appears to have nothing to do with the fact that Michael Jordan was Michael
what I mean.
Jordan.
Totally random, just happened to be the son of one of the most famous people on the planet. And I think this woman, Savannah Guthrie's mother, happened to be the mother of one of the most famous broadcasters around in America today. Look, I like I said, I hope that they find her, but the indicators here, to say it's highly concerning is an understatement. Someone's being abducted. There's blood. We'll see. All you can do is pray and hope that they find her somewhere. You always have that possibility that the kidnappers or the abductors, maybe they figured out who her daughter was and realized this is a bad idea. I'm hopeful that they would have realized it's a bad idea and just, left her at a bus stop somewhere. Who knows? But right now it's highly concerning is all you can say about the facts as they have been presented.
So that press conference has not yet started, but I wanted to make sure that we gave you the latest on that, and we will be running on that press conference for the sheriff's updates on Nancy Guthrie.
Oh, I'm sorry. She does not have dementia. She has physical limitations. Pardon me. I read somewhere that she had some disability, but she has physical limitations in her movement. So she can't go very far, but her mind is all totally there.
Last seen January 31st, if you are listening to us in Arizona. Certainly keep your eyes peeled there, as that is where she has disappeared. And again, we will update you on what the latest is here shortly. Much less serious. I'm out in Los Angeles, Buck. So I thought that this is very funny, and I thought we could have some fun with this. The Grammy Awards were insanely woke, as one might imagine. And we talked about that quite a lot yesterday. And maybe the wokest part of the entire Grammy Awards was when Billie Eilish, singer, got up and said, "No one is illegal on stolen land." Here is that cut, I believe cut 31 from Sunday night at the Grammys.
I love you so much. I feel so honored every time I get to be in this room. And as grateful as I feel, I honestly don't feel like I need to say anything, but that no one is illegal on stolen land.
All right, Buck, I had some fun with this yesterday on the show, and I pointed out, hey, if your land is stolen, the nicest thing you could do is actually give it back. And Billie Eilish lives in a multi-million-dollar Los Angeles mansion. She had just won Song of the Year. So this is very funny. The Tongva tribe, not familiar with their work, the Tongva tribe says in they used to have the L.A. area, great place to be living if you were a tribe, by the way. I would imagine, nice land in L.A. They say Billie Eilish is living in a mansion built on their ancestral land. As the first people of the greater this is the Tongva tribe, in a statement to Fox News, as the first people of the greater Los Angeles basin, we do understand that her home is situated in our ancestral land. Eilish has not contacted our tribe directly regarding our property. They are asking, this is really funny, good for them. They're asking Billie Eilish to turn title to her mansion back over to the Tongva tribe because she is living on their stolen land. Buck, do you think that Billie Eilish, who won Song of the Year and was so fast to say no one is illegal when we're living on stolen land, why is Billie Eilish not willing to turn back over her multi-million-dollar mansion? I will say, too, there are lots of footage, lots of drones of this property of hers now. She stepped really in it. To my knowledge, she has not commented since they have demanded their land back.
We'll have to just wait and see. I have a feeling she's going to hang on to that mansion and not think twice about it. Clay, one thing that I was thinking about with the Grammys was that I think the state of, get ready for it, are you ready to get off my lawn, everybody? You ready to get off my lawn? I think the state, speaking of stolen land, the state of music today in this country in general, don't tell me, oh, I love this band, or, oh, but what about this country music? I don't know anything about country music. I know more about college SEC football coaches than I do about country music. So don't come at me with the country music. Clay's like, yeah, it's actually true. Who is the guy that you're like, you don't know who that is?
Morgan Wallen.
Oh, yeah. Clay's like, Morgan Wallen. I'm like, is that a rum? Is that like
you
a
not
rum
knowing
company?
Pat Summerall and Morgan Wallen is they're very different universes. But yeah, Morgan Wallen is one of the only artists in the world, frankly, that could sell out stadiums all around the country.
And now I celebrate his whole catalog, including the throwing the chair off the roof, apparently. Anyway, I think the state of music today in America is absolutely abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. I think that the stuff that people are, first of all, everything is auto-tuned. Everything is overproduced. There's nothing that's, I think music has got, people complain about, and hat tip, Ben Domenech has said something like this on X, and I liked it. I think he's totally right. But I've been thinking this that's why I like this tweet. I've been thinking this for a long time now. Movies have gotten bad. I think you might be able to argue that, like, pop music is even worse than, like, the descent of pop music is even worse than the descent of movies over the last 20
What do you
years.
attribute that to? Because I think it's certainly true. Is it, so movies, I think it's that everybody got afraid of being targeted on social media. So I think the same thing is true for novels. All of a sudden, if you make a joke that the wrong person is offended by, or you try to write a book, if you're a white person that's from the perspective of someone other than a white person, it's, cultural appropriation. Is it just a culture of fear in taking risk, and everybody's so afraid of being targeted in a social media era that great art requires risk would be my big picture argument.
I think the economics of it have changed a lot. I think that it's for most people, it's far less lucrative and far less of a dream to be even just a successful band today than it was before. I just think about this in the 90s when maybe this is a Gen X millennial thing more than anything else, but the whole notion of the garage band. That you want to get together with your buddies, and you're going to get together, you're going to play rock and roll, and maybe you'll play at like the school dance, and then maybe you'll play at a local venue, and then somebody will sign you to some big record label and all this stuff. This is all gone. This doesn't really exist the same way, and you don't have the same aspiration. I don't think people think of rock stars with anywhere near the same. First of all, if you look at the biggest touring acts in the world today, for the most part, with the exception of like a Taylor Swift, and I can't speak to, again, I know nothing about the contemporary hip-hop scene. I know nothing about it. So just put that aside, too. I don't know about country music. I don't know about hip-hop. But, Clay, you look at the bands that are touring, there are parents' bands.
Yeah, a lot of them are.
It's Bruce Springsteen, the most overrated music act of all time. It's not the Beatles, sorry.
Rolling Stones, yeah.
The Rolling Stones, that's what I meant. The Rolling Stones, the other ones. These bands are still touring. I mean, they're rolling these guys out there with oxygen tanks attached to them. It's crazy. And these are the bands that are still doing sellout and everything else. So I think that it's very obvious the music industry isn't what it used to be. And I'll just say this, I look forward to introducing my son when he gets old enough to, I don't care who you are. If you have any appreciation for music and you hear like a great AC/DC riff, or even some of the music we play on the show as our rejoin music, like that Tears for Fears song, which I love, which was my number 2 behind our theme song to be the theme song on this show, Rule the World. Those are, in 50 years, people will be like, that's a great song. There's the music that's being made over the last 10, 15 years. No one's going to be like, that's a great song. They're going to be like, what is that? Did someone make that with a synthesizer in the room by themselves? It's bizarre.
I would argue, and I'm going to get people fired up now, the 90s was the last time when there was great original music being produced across the different bandwidth of audio, right? So you had, I would argue, the peak of rock, meaning diversity of rock, was incredible in the 90s. Rap, I would argue, actually by far peaked in the late 90s. If you go look at all the different rap artists, you could actually understand what a rap artist did back then. My sons listen to rap now. It's all this mumblecore stuff. You can't hear anything the guys are saying. I mean,
it's absurd.
You go back and look at R&B, which I think is mostly overrated, but all of it peaked in the late 90s in terms of the diversity of music. You go back and look at all of the different bands that put out great music, and since then it's collapsed. And by the way, it's also collapsed in movies. There's nothing funny that's being produced in movies anymore, I think, because they're all afraid
on the music thing,
so.
though, Clay, top music acts in the 90s were global superstars with tremendous cultural resonance. And remember, like, U2, which now, in retrospect, I actually would put it. I listened to a lot of U2 in high school, so I'm guilty of this, too, and some of you are going to boo me for saying this. Kind of overrated. A lot of the songs kind of sound the same. But U2 was sort of like Coldplay before there was Coldplay. But they used to travel. They'd meet with the Pope, and they'd meet with the head of the UN, and everyone's, and music's going to save the world, and Live Aid, and all these different things that would go on. The cultural impact of the contemporary music scene 20 years ago and earlier dwarfs what we have today.
By far.
And honestly, even Taylor Swift, she's super successful. I'm telling you this right now. I'm calling my shot. Girls are not going to be listening to Taylor Swift songs in 20, 30 years. It's forgettable stuff mostly.
You're 100% wrong on that. I give Taylor Swift credit. She's got awful politics. She writes her own songs. She produces a new album like
talented.
every 2 years.
I'm not saying she's not super talented. Clay? What's the? I'm going to put him on the spot.
I'm not good on songs.
Okay, Mr. Mustache. What's the best Taylor Swift song you're going to tell us when we come back from this break?
I'll do that, and I guarantee you that all the girls listening to Taylor Swift now will be rocking out to it when they're 70. By the way, serious press conference underway. We'll give you the latest on the Savannah Guthrie investigation as well. But I want to tell you, Cozy Earth right now, spend the Valentine's Day in bed with Cozy Earth PJs. Right now, they have a buy one, get one free deal on the bamboo fabric pajama sets. They are awesome. Put 2 in the cart, and when you type in Clay Bogo, one of them is free. Again, 2 PJs just in time for Valentine's Day. 1 for your wife, 1 for your mom, 1 for both your girlfriends. Get hooked up right now. Bogo, what better thing could you do than give both your girlfriends the exact same Valentine's Day gift? What a romantic man you are. Go online to CozyEarth.com. Use my name and the BOGO term. That's Clay Bogo to get these PJs for someone you love and get a post-purchase survey. Tell them you heard about Cozy Earth right here on Clay and Buck. One more time, go check them out. These PJs are awesome. You get 2 for the price of 1. CozyEarth.com. Code Clay Bogo.
News you can count on. And some laughs, too. Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. Find them on the free iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. This Sunday, iHeartRadio brings you live to Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara for the Super Bowl 60 tailgate concert presented by NetApp. It's the ultimate pregame party featuring an exclusive performance from Teddy Swims. Your front row experience will be on iHeartRadio stations across the country and the free iHeartRadio app this Sunday at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Then, after the concert, tune in to the Super Bowl 60 pregame show on NBC.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Running a business is hard enough, so why make it harder with a dozen different apps that don't talk to each other? One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. Before you know it, you are drowning in software instead of growing your business. This is where Odoo comes in. Odoo is the only business software you'll ever need. It's an all-in-one, fully integrated platform that handles everything: CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, and more. No more app overload. No more juggling logins. Just one seamless system that makes work easier. And the best part, Odoo replaces multiple expensive platforms for a fraction of the cost. It's built to grow with your business, whether you are just starting out or already scaling up. Plus, it's easy to use, customizable, and designed to streamline every process, so you can focus on what really matters: running your business. Thousands of businesses have made the switch, so why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Hi, I'm Cindy Crawford, and I'm the founder of Meaningful Beauty. When Dr. Sabah and I decided to do a skincare line together, he said to me, "We are going to give women meaningful beauty." And I said, "That's exactly right. We want to give women meaningful beauty," which means each and every product is meaningful. It has a reason to exist. It's efficacious. You're going to get results. And then you just go out and live your life.
Meaningful Beauty. Confidence is beautiful. Learn more at meaningfulbeauty.com.
Welcome in, everybody, to the third hour of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show. Just a news update here for you. As we are live, we are real time. Not like some of these podcasts that people put out, Mr. Clay, where they tape it on their way to their beach vacation and then play it a week later or something. We're live, baby. We're doing it here for all of you, with you 3 hours a day. The beauty of radio and our almost 600 affiliates. The beauty of the iHeart app. We are here. We are with you. We are taking your calls, and we are bringing you the latest up to the minute. Just saying, I gotta say, there's no craziness here. We're live. These are the value propositions we bring you. We're live. We tell you the truth, and we're not nuts like some of the folks out there who are building audiences, including on the right, who probably should spend a little time getting some help, looking inward, addressing some of their demons. Just saying, I'm here to help. I'm here to help everybody on the team. Now, U.S. has shot down a suspected Iranian drone on approach to an aircraft carrier. That is the breaking news in this moment. Nothing too big, but just note, talking about an aircraft carrier, Clay, I had a lot of these discussions when I was in Taiwan with the president and national security advisor of Taiwan, vice president. The world of naval surface warfare is changing very rapidly, and the projection of force that is possible with aircraft carriers is something that is variable insofar as ship-killing missiles and the technology, hypersonic missiles, and the technology that is developing very rapidly could turn aircraft carriers into multi-billion-dollar targets. Well, they're already targets, but target practice. A lot of stuff to look at here in the years ahead. But instead of talking about or going deeper into my analysis of this national security threat, I don't want to forget that Clay, who now has two things going for him: one, a brand new mustache, and two, thinks Taylor Swift is the new Beatles. Do you wish to tell us the greatest Taylor Swift song of all
hold
time?
on. Let me tell you that. But first, serious news. We teased that we would
can't
mention.
go to. I'm talking your mustache and Taylor Swift. I'm
going
pivoted from the serious. You can't pivot my pivot. Okay,
I'm
go ahead.
pivoting
Give us
back
your
to the
serious news.
So we don't know what happened to Nancy Guthrie. I told you that they were going to have a press conference. This is the number one story on every newscast. Nancy Guthrie, mother of Savannah Guthrie. We have a huge audience in Arizona. She was taken against her will. There is no surveillance video. They basically have no idea where she is. The FBI is asking if you have tips on this. 1-800-CALL-FBI. The FBI is now involved. This is in Tucson, Arizona, and basically no one has any idea what happened to Nancy Guthrie. They believe she was taken against her will. And that's it. I mean, it's a huge mystery. So there's a lot of interest here. 1-800-CALL-FBI. So I wanted to make sure. I mean, I thought maybe we would get info because they had a press conference scheduled, but the press conference was to let us know that basically they knew nothing.
I'm leaving it to you to how you transition back to Taylor Swift now, because that's a very sad, serious story. So this is all on you, buddy.
Now I have to pivot back from a serious story to the story that, by the way, Producer Allie, come up here for a sec. We just talked about Jeffrey Epstein. We gave a huge take on Jeffrey Epstein, everything related to Epstein. You are telling me that my take on Taylor Swift has been considered more controversial by this audience than everything we said about Jeffrey Epstein. If you wondered whether the Jeffrey Epstein story is over, you guys are angrier about my Taylor Swift take. Is that correct,
yes.
Producer Allie?
Yes, there is a waterfall of emails on your Taylor Swift and overall music take coming in, pouring in.
All right. The people have spoken, and the people are correct.
Okay. I'm about to turn that deluge. What's more than a deluge? What would be bigger than a deluge? The cavalcade of emails.
Tsunami? I think tsunami is more than a deluge.
I think that's right. I'm about to turn the deluge into a tsunami. Taylor Swift is the Beatles of our time. Buck is totally wrong that 20 or 30 years from now, no one will care. Taylor Swift, Buck, get ready. 20 or 30 years from now, flag this. I hope I'm alive to take my victory lap. 20 or 30 years from now, Taylor Swift will be more popular than she is now. Her music, much like the Beatles' music, is going to endure. And she will be touring, much like the Rolling Stones, as long as she's like Mick Jagger and can still walk out there and kick her legs. She's going to be touring until she's 85 or 90, if she lives that long, singing all these songs.
This is a take that's going to go down in history like whoever said that the internet is going to be as important as the fax machine. I mean, this is an all-timer for you, Clay.
All right.
Taylor Swift. You know who people would have said this about, like the icon of teenage girls when we were growing up? Oh my gosh, in 30 years everyone's going to be listening to the Backstreet Boys. Oh, the Backstreet Boys were huge. The Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, all those boy bands. You could even put them all together. And you would have thought, oh my gosh, they're such a global phenomenon. No one listens to. In fact, now
hold on,
you're
wrong about this. They sell out tours like crazy now. There are 50-year-old women right now who are throwing their radios, if they're physical, across the room that spent $1,000 with their girlfriends to get good seats to the Backstreet Boys tour.
We do not have a single person. We have millions of people. We have the city the size of Chicago of listeners right now listening to us. Not a single one of them paid $1,000 in the last year for a Backstreet Boys ticket. You're talking crazy talk.
I'm saying with her girlfriends, they might have spent $250 each for 4 of them. If you went to the Backstreet Boys at Buck Sexton right now, get your phones out on Twitter at Clay Travis 2. I want you to let me know. I bet I need you
guys to tell Clay to put the Whispering Angel down and get with reality here for a second, okay? I don't know if
when I go into these mentions,
this is crazy.
Or your wife, right? Because we got I think it's 70% male. If your wife did or you did, Backstreet Boy tickets at Buck Sexton at Clay Travis. All right, you asked.
Producer Mark loves to tell me that I'm wrong, which is why we've been such good friends now for over a decade. He says the Backstreet Boys have a residency at the Sphere in Vegas that is selling out every night.
But it's crazy.
Sphere, that's Vegas. That's not like
it's
global.
Crazy expensive. They just had a tour. They were selling out arenas everywhere. All these
when
women.
You're talking about something on the scale of the Beatles, okay, which is what you are. This is a global cultural musical phenomenon that is timeless and has lasted for decades. To say that the Backstreet Boys selling out a venue in Vegas. Although it does sound kind of cool, actually. I might have to go check. I kind of want to see the Sphere. So maybe I'll go to the
by the way,
Boys.
is Carrie there? Carrie's going to spend $1,000 on these tickets when she finds out about it. All right.
Did I ever tell you this, that I hooked a buddy of mine up? I'm going to digress because we're talking music. I was at a birthday party. It was my brother. And we went to Atlantic City, which is the New York City kid version of Vegas, baby, Vegas. Last minute. We go to Atlantic City, and Clay, we were at the Borgata, which I think is the nicest property in Atlantic City. We probably have the manager. I'm probably the manager of the Borgata probably listens to this show. Like we got a lot of people that run businesses that listen to the show. I think it's the nicest in Atlantic City. We're at the Borgata, and we're at their club. I don't remember the name of the club, but their nightclub there. And I'm telling you, there are tumbleweeds blowing through. It is a sad, sad night at the Borgata at like 10 o'clock at night for this birthday night, and out of nowhere, when I tell you there was an influx of 25-year-old to 35-year-old girls, women, and nothing but, I've never seen anything like this in my life. I was just like, we're there. We're a table of guys. We had no women with us. We're hoping to meet some ladies. By the way, one of my friends met his wife this night.
Oh,
we're
wow.
at a table. Yeah. And I introduced them. We're at a table by influx. There were some guys there, but we were the only straight guys in this nightclub pretty much. There were a lot of guys, but they were not straight from my understanding. Madonna had just finished a show at like 11 o'clock at night. A Madonna show got out and flooded the place with chicks. It was incredible. It was honestly like manna from heaven. Because no dudes. Because what dudes go to a Madonna show?
Totally. Not straight dudes. 800-282-2882. By the way,
Clay's about to pivot back to like whether we're
No, I'm just saying the federal government is back open to the extent anybody cared. All right, here's my songs. Bad Blood, Love Story, You Belong With Me, I Knew You Were Trouble, and Wildest Dreams is my Power 5 in no particular order for Taylor Swift. Others that I like.
Can you repeat this?
Yes,
so I know
my top five of the modern day Beatle, Taylor Swift. And I'll say this, Buck. I think Taylor Swift has a more substantial catalog of good songs in the decades ahead than the Beatles do.
All right, just give me your top five again, just because I want to make sure that I don't
Blood.
actually know any of these songs, because no one cares. Go ahead.
Bad Blood, Love Story, You Belong With Me, I Knew You Were Trouble, and Wildest Dreams, my Power 5. Two additional
the only one of those songs that I know that you've just mentioned is the number 5 song. The rest of those songs, I don't even know what they are.
You have never heard I Knew You Were Trouble, You Belong With Me, Love Story, or Bad Blood? Now we got Bad Blood. You've never heard that song?
I might hear them if they came on. But, Clay, to speak about these in the same breath as the Beatles, I would even say to speak about this in the same breath as, like, Aerosmith. It's just insane. Insane.
She's a modern-day Beatle. And two honorable mentions, Shake It Off.
I gotta say, Clay shaves his beard off. He goes mustache, and all of a sudden he's like Taylor Swift #1 fan. Something's happened here. I don't know what's going on.
Mean, which my wife likes because she says I am the mean person in the song Mean. Why you got to be so mean? So that is my top 5 and then 2 honorable mentions. And I'm right. And 30 years from now, if you're still alive, everyone out there listening, you're going to have to recognize, you know what? Clay Travis nailed this. Taylor Swift is the modern day Beatles, and she's going to continue to sell out places forever.
I don't know if this is your most wrong take ever, because that's going to require some digging. But this is definitely like I would say that this is you're getting close to your craziest Clay Travis take on the show.
A lot of people are going to react to her politics, and I am not endorsing that. I think Taylor Swift is a moron when it comes to her political knowledge. But I'm sure the Beatles, by the way, often had political takes that many people would
Lenin
disagree
was.
with back in the
Lenin
day.
was a communist. He might as well have been Lenin. He was a communist.
Doesn't mean they're not still talented guys. But I think Taylor Swift, 21st century, the most in the 21st century since 2000, the biggest star.
I'm excited that in this hour of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show, we can all just sit back, relax, and enjoy Clay getting dragged over the metaphorical broken glass of this audience for the next 45 minutes. They are going to come. They're coming after
what I think is really funny is we've talked about the SAVE Act, we've talked about Epstein, all these stories. Epstein is the most controversial story in years. Everybody's like, yeah, Clay and Buck, you guys nailed that.
Well,
my take on Taylor Swift is the one that people are upset about.
The stuff that people write about you online that is the meanest, which I do see sometimes, and I'm always like, I'll fight them. It makes me sad. But the meanest are always the people who are mad at you over sports, which I find so funny.
Oh, they are. That's why the politics thing doesn't impact me, because if you pick a winner of Alabama, Auburn, and it's the other side, or Ohio State, Michigan, like politics is small stakes compared to the anger of sports fans.
They get very angry at you. I was like, wow. And the sports ball, very passionate, the sports ball fans. All right. Come back into this here in a second. If someone broke into your home, would you be prepared? I mean, right now. Would you be ready for it? This is something you got to do in advance. You can't wait until the moment and then fire up your laptop and try to get what you need then. You want to take action today with Saber's Home Defense Launcher. Powerful protection designed to keep you safe. I have this at home, so does Clay. They're easy to use. The Saber Home Defense Launcher delivers 7 powerful impact or pepper projectiles. That's 2 more than the competitors that are out there. When fear hits and you have to defend yourself, having extra stopping power can change everything. And protection doesn't stop at your front door. When you're on the move, Saber pepper sprays, pepper gels, and stun guns gives you compact, reliable protection wherever life takes you. When safety matters, America chooses Saber, the #1 brand trusted by police and millions worldwide. Saber, S-A-B-R-E is how it's spelled. Don't wait for a close call. Get protection now at saberradio.com. That's S-A-B-R-E radio.com, or call 844-824-SAFE.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. Mic drops that never sounded so good. Find them on the free iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. This Sunday, iHeartRadio brings you live to Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara for the Super Bowl 60 tailgate concert, presented by NetApp. It's the ultimate pregame party featuring an exclusive performance from Teddy Swims. Your front row experience will be on iHeartRadio stations across the country and the free iHeartRadio app this Sunday at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Then, after the concert, tune in to the Super Bowl 60 pregame show on NBC.
These days, it seems like AI agents are just about everywhere you turn, every field and every function. But without identity, you can't trust they'll serve your business instead of jeopardizing it. Fortunately, Okta helps you get identity right by securing your AI agents' identities, giving you a single layer of control, a single standard of trust. So whether an AI agent supports a single user or your entire enterprise, with Okta, you'll turn risk into opportunity. Secure every agent. Secure any agent. Okta secures AI.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.